Rabbi, when you're ready.
Start us up with the Hashanah, or do you want us to start straight into the music?
Let's go straight and cut it. Good morning, friends, and welcome to our Rosh Hashanah morning service. We're still getting used to our beautiful new Mishkan HaNefesh, our beautiful new prayer books. And we're so delighted to welcome all of you this morning as one community in prayer. We're going to turn, friends, to page 135 to begin our prayer this Yom Tov morning. And that's not your grandpa's Rosh Hashanah morning. And we're delighted to welcome Ava Nahas on our drum. Nava teaches in our religious school and in our preschool, teaches drumming as a vehicle to understand the world. Music, as you know, crosses borders, and music is a way to learn so much. And we're just delighted that Ava is part of our community. My privilege for Rabbi Simons to continue 142.
Awake on this beautiful morning, let's rise together on page 142 for our official call to worship, our Baruch Hu. We come together as one community on this Rosh Hashanah morning to proclaim God's oneness. Let's turn together to page 150 and 151 for our Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Rosh
You may be seated as we turn together and offer the words of Ve'ahavta, page 152 and 153. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anuchi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech ushokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu latotafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Let's turn together to page 163 and offer these words as one community at the bottom of the page. Remember the stories of slavery, and you will never stop working for freedom. Remember their fear at the edge of the sea, and self-doubt will never defeat you. Remember when desperation turned to celebration, and you will never let go of hope. Remember the words of the Baal Shem Tov. Forgetfulness leads to exile. Remembrance is the secret of redemption. Our Song of Redemption, page 164.
Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Page 166. Let us rise for the tefillah. We open our mouths to praise God as we turn to 168, 170 for our Avot Imahot and Gevurot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei שמו
ואהבה.
מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Page 170. Your life-giving power is forever, Adonai, with us in death as in life. You liberate and save, cause dew to descend, and with abundant mercy lovingly nurture all life. From life to death, you are the force that flows without end. You support the falling, heal the sick, free the imprisoned and confined. You are faithful even to those who rest in the dust. Join me, please. Power beyond power, from whom salvation springs, sovereign over life and death, who is like you? Merciful God, who compares with you? With tender compassion, you remember all creatures for life. Faithful and true, worthy of our trust, you sustain our immortal yearnings. In you we place our undying hopes. Wellspring of blessing, power eternal, you are the one who gives and renews all life. Invite you to take your seats, friends, as we turn to 174. So we sometimes have to look at prayer not as an essay that we wrote last week, but look at prayer as an archaeological strata of different people's interpretations along the way. Some of the things we read are 2,000 years old. Some of the words we read were reinvented Jewish forms in the 16th century, and some of them are obviously of our contemporary time. When we turn especially to Unatana Tokef, there's a new translation you can follow on 175, but Unatana Tokef is a very difficult prayer, recalling those thoughts of who shall live and who shall die. So as we hear the inspiring music that will set a tone for Unatana Tokef, take an opportunity to look at new words, new interpretations that may help us with this prayer. 174.
ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום כי הוא נורא והיום ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום כי הוא נורא והיום ובוא תנשא מלכותך וכל בחסד כיסא ושופר גדול ייתקע.
ובשופר גדול ייתקע.
וכל דממה דקה יישמע.
Page 178, middle of the page. On Rosh Hashanah, all is written, and on this fast of Yom Kippur, it will be sealed.
Rosh Hashanah יקטרו,
Uyom Yom Kippur yehatemu. Rosh Hashanah יקטרו, Page 180 at the top, friends. For us to return to the right path, it's not about the decree as much as it is our response. Through prayer, righteous giving, we transcend the harshness of the decree. Together at the bottom of 180, you are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger,
quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood.
Friends, we turn to 202. In our new Mishkan HaNefesh, the shofar service is not one unit, but rather three, each a unique set of blasts, one about our memories, one about our historical connection to kings, kingship, and sovereignty, and the third about our hopes for the future. So it is my distinct honor to invite Dr. Joshua Weider forward as we turn to 202 and invite all to please rise. Page 206, we turn to the blessings that precede the shofar as a way of preparation. We don't just walk into something that's important without getting ourselves ready. And so these blessings prepare us for the hearing of our shofar. 206.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Amen.
Tekiah, Shvarim Truah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shvarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah.
Arashat Sifatenu Yerov Lefanecha Erov Benisa. Arashat Sifatenu Yerov Lefanecha Erov Benisa. Mevi'u Mazim Mavitu Bakshi B'kol V'kol Tehillatenu. Utkabel Berachamim Berachamim Ratzon Seder Seder Malchuyotenu.
The sound of the shofar is supposed to awaken us from our slumber, and I think we are definitely awake right now. As we are awake to the sound of the shofar, let us remember its call. Its call is for peace. Peace in our lives, peace in our community, and peace around the world. Let's turn to page 216 for Sim Shalom, our song of peace.
Sim Shalom, Tova uvracha ba'olam, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Ki be'or panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chaim ve'ahavat chesed, u'tzedakah uveracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom. L'chaim tovim ul'shalom, Baruch atah Adonai
There are times in our lives when we experience moments of loneliness. And as we come to these high holy days and we are asked to turn within and examine the inner workings of our soul, we experience those moments of loneliness. But when we offer the words of Avinu Malkeinu, then we know that we are truly never alone. However we perceive God, God is with us and within us. So as we rise for Avinu Malkeinu, let us remember those feelings in that moment and that we are truly one community, not alone.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, ve'alol aleinu.
Let's join in the folk version of Avinu Malkeinu, found on the bottom of 223. Page 228. Adonai, Adonai, rachum v'chanun, erech apayim, v'rav chesed ve'emet, notzer chesed lalafim, noseh avon v'fesha, v'chata'a v'nakeh. Together, friends, we read these 13 attributes of God. Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving, and true, showing mercy to the 1000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'Baruch Shemo.
Gadu l'Adonai etin l'romam ha'shemo yachdav. Magnify the eternal with me. Together, let us exalt God's name.
Lecha Adonai hagedula, v'hagevura, v'hativeret, v'hanetzach, v'hahod. Ki hol b'shamayim u'haaretz, ki hol b'shamayim u'haaretz. Lecha Adonai ha'malachah, ve'hamid
Did you
Friends, you may be seated as we turn to our reading from Torah. The blessings begin on 230, and the Torah portion actually begins, Genesis 22, on page 240. 230 for the blessings, 240 to follow the reading of the binding of Isaac. This morning we honor the officers of our University Synagogue Temple Youth, our high school youth group, and if all the Unity officers would come forward, please, for the first Aliyah. Our Torah reader is Emily Badner. We're going to invite all the Torah readers to come down at this point. Reader number 2, Renata Feinstein. Reader number 3, Megan Williams. Reader number 4, Jordan Tushin. Reader number 5, Rachel Weiss.
et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'na'atan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
אחר הדברים האלך לך אלוהים נישא את אברהם ויאמר אליו אברהם ויאמר הנני ויאמר קח נא את בנך את יחידך אשר אהבת את יצחק ולך לך אל ארץ המוריה וכאלהו שם לעולם על אחד ככרים אשר אומר אליך וישכם אברהם בבוקר ויחבוש את המורו ויקח את שני עריו איתו ואת יצחק בנו ויבקע עשה עולה ויקום וילך אל המקום אשר אמר לו האלוהים היום right? ביום השלישי ויישא אברהם את עיניו וירא את המקום מרחוק.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Our second Aliyah, we're going to invite all the kids who've gone to Nifty Camp over the summer or the year. We have some who went on the 8th grade twinning program to Israel. We have others who participated in the Maccabia Games nationally or internationally. So y'all know who you are. Don't be slow now. You're fast in your road races. Zach Jacobs, Ezra Krieger, Asher Bank, Chloe Kaufman, Alan Schultz, Ben Anken, Joe Wiener, Mira Chaskis, Hannah Goldsobel, Lucas Goldsobel, Zach Weiss, Karina Wiesen, Damon Pizzuto, Renata Feinstein, Eliana Feinstein, Ellie Ross, Lucy Kahn, Anna Kahn.
natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Avraham el na'arav, shavu lachem po im hachamor, va'ani v'hanar nelecha adeko, v'nishtacheveh v'nashuva alechem. Vayikach Avraham et atzei ha'olah, vayasem al Yitzchak beno, vayikach biado et ha'esh veit ha'ma'achelet, vayalechu shnehem yachdav. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham aviv, vayomer avi, vayomer hineni v'ni, vayomer hine ha'esh v'ha'etzim, ve'et ha'aseh le'olah. Vayomer Avraham Elohim Yerulo Aseh La'olah V'ni Vayalechu Shnehem Yachdav.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Nicely done, kiddo.
We'd like to invite our sisterhood officers for our third Aliyah as we thank all of our nifty involvees. And so Megan Williams will be our third reader. Sisterhood trustees and officers. And as they're coming down, why don't we also have members of our wide aging group come and stand here so you're all ready for your Aliyah. Karen Silas, Bob Israel, Enid Friedman, Mara Fine. Steve and Mona Miller also are in the Wise Aging group. Okay, sister ladies, here we go.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayava'u el hamakom asher amar lo ha'Elohim, vayiven sham Avraham et hamizbeah, vaya'aro et ha'etzim, vaya'akod et Yitzhak beno, vayasem oto al hamizbeah mima'al la'etzim, vayatla Avraham et yado, vayakha et ha'ahelet, vayishlot et bano, vayakro Nana Adonai mipach hamayim, vayamer Abraham Avraham, vayomer hinei.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, V'haye olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Wonderful. Mazel tov.
Our fourth Torah reader is Jordan Tushin. Cam, you want to explain a sentence about our Wise Aging Group?
So our Wise Aging Group met about once every 6 weeks for about a year, and we discussed how we could bring mindfulness into the aging process. And this is a very, very special group of people, and I'm really delighted that you're standing with us on the Bima today.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. We're on page 241, friends, starting verses 10, 11, and following.
Vayomer al tishlach yadha el hana'ar ve'al te'aslo me'uma ki ata yadati ki are Elohim ata ve'lo hasachta et binha et yehita mimeni vayisa Avraham et einav vayar vehine ayil ahar Ne'ehaz basvach bekarnav, vayele Avraham, vayikata ayil, vayalehu le'ola, tahad beno, vayikra Avraham, Shem hamakom hahu Adonai yireh, asher yeomer hayom, bahar Adonai yera'eh.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Another group within our synagogue that has been doing extraordinary outreach, in-reach for us to learn and outreach to help those in need, is our Tikkun Olam Committee, led by Julie Bank, our Vice President for Tikkun Olam. So if you're on that Tikkun Olam Committee, please join us. And as they're coming down, I think no better, absolutely shameless pitch to take one of these bags with you, fill it up for groceries for those in need. Friends, it's middle of September. My guess is by the end of October, if every single one of us filled a bag here, that food would be gone in the city of Los Angeles. 60,000 homeless people, people in need who are hungry. We have lots, they have little. Please do our share, and then return it on Yom Kippur.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayikra Malach Adonai el Avraham, Sheni min hashamayim, Vayomer Ben Nishbati Nehum Adonai, Ki Yan Asher Asita et Hadabar Hazeh, Velo Hasakta et Pinha et Yehideha, Ki Arba Kibarei avarechecha veharba arbei et zareha kechahovei hashamayim vehahu asher al shav zafad hayam Vayrash Saraha et Sha'ar Oivav.
That's good. Beautiful.
Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Invite all who are able to please rise. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai. This is the Torah which Moses read before the Jewish people to fulfill the word of God.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. לי 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 לי
With Aaron. Friends, you may be seated as Emily Glenn comes forward to offer the Haftarah blessings, and Alan Schultz will be offering the Haftarah in Hebrew. The Haftarah is a noted portion because it is the plea, it is the chant of Hannah. As they come forward, we're going to offer our Misha Berach prayer for healing. Have an opportunity to think of those in need, those who are hurting in body or hurting in soul. And we think of them, we ally ourselves with them, and to offer their names out loud as a way to bond ourselves with them. We're here in prayer. Some may be in hospitals or nursing homes, but we want to think of them. So if you know of someone in need of healing, please feel comfortable in mentioning his or her name at this time.
Sandy Levy.
Besides the family.
We hold all their names out loud as well as inward as we turn to our Misha Berach prayer for healing. 247 are blessings before the Haftarah, and the reading itself is found on 252.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nevi'im tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habalcher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nevi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
ותתפלל הנה ותאמר עלת ליבי באדוני רמה קרני באדוני רחב פי על אוהבי כי שמחתי בשורתך אין קודש כאורה כי אין בלתך ואין צור כאלוהינו. אל תרבו תדברו גבוה גבוה יצא עתך מפיכם כי אל דעות אדוני ולא נתקנו עלילות. קשת גיבורים חטאים ונכשלים עצרו חיל. שבעים בעליכם נזכרו ורעבים חדלו. עד על קרא ילדה שיבה ורבת בנים ומלך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol haolamim Sadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oser, ha'medaber u'mekayim, shechol divara emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im, ve'al yom ha'zikaron hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, lechavod u'letifaret, Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umbarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha, befi kol chai, tamid le'olam vahed, udvarcha emet v'kayam la'ad. Baruch atah Adonai, melech al kol haaretz, Mekadesh Yisrael vayom hazikaron.
Amen.
We're going to rise, friends, as we return the Torah to the Ark. 50 years ago, it was 1967. I was prepping for my bar mitzvah using a 33 1/3 vinyl record. I was anticipating my sister's wedding, and I was closely following the Dodgers, who had Wes Parker in center, Ron Fairley on first, Sweet Lou Johnson in right, and Johnny Roseborough behind the plate. Sean Connery starred as James Bond in You Only Live Twice, and your movie ticket for Bonnie and Clyde was $1.25. Gas cost 33 cents a gallon, and the minimum wage was raised to $1.40. The three news networks focused on the Six-Day War, which captured the imagination of Jews and non-Jews around the world. The United States Supreme Court unanimously ended laws against interracial marriage, and the summer's heat brought the 12th Street race riot to Detroit. The new Beatles album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, was getting airplay. And the Mamas and the Papas, the Jefferson Airplane, the Buffalo Springfield, the Grateful Dead, and Jimi Hendrix were set to play Monterey Pop. We all called it the Summer of Love. 50 years later, this has not been the summer of love in any way. We're not singing any happy songs. We know the world is a far more dangerous place. What do we know now that we didn't know then? Extremists are in the news, denigrating our nation and its diversity while calling themselves patriots. In the Bitterroot Mountains, the white-bearded patriarch of the militia of Montana, John Trockman, denounced the federal government as tyrannical. He has a radical libertarian don't tread on me rhetoric, liberally laced with quotes selectively used from the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They have high esteem for the Second Amendment, especially that regarding the well-regulated militia, and their paranoid fears of incursions by the United Nations to overtake this country and government weather modifications. In Hayden Lake, Idaho, an Aryan Nations compound brandishes its Nazi convictions with prominent symbols, flags bearing swastikas, a church filled with pamphlets about the Anglo-Saxons, the true chosen people, and that we modern Jews are the children of Satan. A retired fireman in the Blackfoot, Idaho U.S. Militia Association said, "I always use Hitler to describe the situation we're trying to do something about here. Kind of goes back to following God's law, because if you don't, it's one world government." Mark Karnke disseminates his mishigas over all the different forms of media about the UN conspiracy theory, about the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, about how there are right now hundreds of thousands of foreign troops on American soil ready to take over, and how many of us as Americans are implanted with microchips. He urges people to hoard guns and pistols and train for the inevitable war which will save this nation. Often such haters think the Anti-Defamation League is a front for organized crime, with government jackbooted troops preparing for the new world order which will enslave Americans. 2 members of the Minnesota Patriots Council were convicted on federal conspiracy charges that they planned to blow up a federal building and use a lethal biological toxin to kill 1,400 federal employees and law enforcement agents. Now, you might think that we Jews would never enter into this kind of company. After all, we who have suffered under the taskmaster's whip, under the Crusades, the Inquisition, pogroms, the annihilation during the Shoah, we, of course, should know better, but the facts are otherwise. Aaron Zellman heads the Milwaukee-based Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership, whose logo is a Star of David, flanked by silhouettes of a long rifle and an assault rifle. Zellman is a member of a conservative congregation, and he feels the NRA is just a little bit too soft on gun control. He reports 4,000 members, about 80% of which are Jewish. He believes an armed society is a polite society. It's like mutually assured destruction. The criminals should always be a little concerned about their safety. The government targets honest firearm owners, just as the Nazis targeted the Jews. But we also oppose the tactics of the Antifa, of Jewish Voices for Palestine, and Black Bloc. The anti-Zionism of the left and such groups as Black Lives Matter, which is opposed to the state of Israel and calls for a boycott, makes us struggle with its good intentions. Leftists at the Slut Walk in Chicago refuse to let Jews march under a rainbow flag with a Jewish star. Combined with the potential for violence, this raises the hackles on our neck. And just don't think that it's all over Idaho and Montana and places like that, because we had these same tensions locally recently. For the Santa Monica Committee for Racial Justice held meetings infiltrated by bandana-covered protesters from, and here's a group I don't want you to join, it's called the Goyim No, a racist and anti-Semitic group, as well as Red Elephants and the Beach Goys. I'd make that one up. There are interwoven connections between these militias and neo-Nazi and white supremacist groups, like the Aryan Nations and the Triple K. Their intentions are evil. There is no such thing as a good Klansman. They use code words such as international bankers to describe a plot by Jews to take over the world. Jews are still seen by these leaders as the evil force behind government. The Charlottesville marketing featured a man holding a sledgehammer against a Jewish star. These militias, patriot movements, and other radical groups have created an atmosphere of fear. And that's why we read, as we heard last night in the Uvachain, a phrase that says, "We hope for a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate the shining sight of arrogance, lost and gone from the earth." Friends, this hit home when a bomb threat was delivered to our synagogue on Saturday morning, June 10th. Rabbi Stanley Davids was leading the Chevra Torah study group and continued teaching on the sidewalk because, in his words, we never stop the study of Torah no matter what. I received messages from all over the world. Comfort for this hoax was reported locally as well as in the Jerusalem Post. These acts unsettle us. They make us nervous. We Jews are greatly alarmed by these developments because lone crazies or independent armies of racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, anti-feminist, neo-Nazi ideologues scare us. There are now 22 million Americans, 9% of our population, who support the bad boys and girls. Now, my father did not enlist in the U.S. Army to gain a Purple Heart, but that's what he earned when he landed at Normandy to do his share to stop Nazi Germany. Along with thousands of others, he fought against the Nazis, their beliefs, their ideology, their evil deeds. During World War II, we lost 250,000 American soldiers and 6 million Jews. And now, 72 years later, we see Nazi flags and insignia flying freely in our land. We hear racist, bigoted, anti-Semitic speech. We witness wanton violence culminating in murder in Virginia. These acts sear our nation's soul. In Pirkei Avot, the chapters of the sages, we learn from the great Rabbi Hillel, in a place where nobody is human, strive for humanity. Charlottesville was not devoid of humanity. Brave men and women gathered in that city to stand up to vile rhetoric that would dehumanize Americans of color, Jews, immigrants, by the Ku Klux Klan and others who make up the hateful alt-right movement. White supremacists wielding Nazi flags and spewing racist vitriol need to be specifically condemned. We still need to urge that we fulfill the words of our first president, George Washington, who wrote to the Jews of Newport, Rhode Island, "The government of the United States gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance." 16 years ago in South Bend, I led the community's response to the Ku Klux Klan. Indiana is a state where the Klan was huge in the 20th century, 30% of all white males. when the Klan decided to march 4 blocks away from the temple in front of the local courthouse, I organized a counter-demonstration, a walk for peace and justice. We decided to gather in a riverside park miles away from downtown. Why? To march in opposition across the street would have invited the potential for divisiveness, for anger, and for violence. Richard Lobenthal, the retired director of the Michigan Anti-Defamation League, and our executive director, LB's father, like to say that the best way to protest is to let the racists throw a party where no one shows. The Indiana Civil Rights Commission urged communities to create an alternative event. As much as we feel like we want to be there to physically show our opposition to hate, shout back or throw something, confrontations only serve the haters. They also burden law enforcement with protecting hate mongers against otherwise law-abiding citizens. So with that advice, we walked arm in arm, Catholics and Muslims and Jews and African Methodist Episcopalians, promoting justice and righteousness and peace. Instead of a burning flame of bigotry, racism, anti-Semitism, and anti-Catholic fervor just a few miles from Notre Dame, we took the air out of their fire, and the gathering received little media attention. But within months, the family of the national imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Railton Loy, head of the National Church, and his son, the Grand Dragon Richard Loy, purchased land in Osceola on the South Bend Elkhart County line and began to burn crosses next door to an interracial family. It was shocking, it was disheartening, and it was frightening for all of us, especially for the mom, dad, kids, and neighbors. It could have turned ugly, but Stacy, the mom, turned to the temple, knowing of my role as the founder of CURE, the community religious effort, a leading group of Black, white, and Latino ministers, imams, priests, one rabbi, whose intention was to have a healthy, safe, and united community. We introduced Stacy to the Anti-Defamation League for immediate advice, and later the ADL trained law enforcement officials how to deal with this kind of hatred. To impede the Klan, our volunteer Temple Beth El attorneys dealt with zoning issues, a sign too big for ordinance, an area undesignated for target practice, an illegal firing range, a cross-burning ritual activity that was a harbinger of Los Angeles, a cross-burning ritual activity without the proper parking. Local mayors from left and right and other elected officials, moved by the moral call to act, prepared new legislation to put on the squeeze. On the Sunday following 9/11, in the pouring rain, we held an interfaith and interracial prayer service on the property of our new friends, hoping for a change of heart and an end to the cross burnings. Eventually, this Klan group moved away, but not before sending me a letter to my house, which gave Margaret and me the message on their beautifully red-flocked stationery: "We know where you live." I asked for police protection, which was freely granted. Elie Wiesel struggled against apathy and complacency. He told his friends, we must take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Somehow, we must interfere. That's why our Central Conference of American Rabbis has responded to these threats with words: we fervently pray that those who rioted against American diversity will repent of their racist hatred and violence and join with all decent Americans who celebrate the humanity of every person in this great land. Reform rabbis pledge our words and our actions to combat racism, anti-Semitism, xenophobia, and pray for the future foretold by our prophets, when all shall sit under their vine and fig tree in the Messianic age, with none to make them afraid. Let me share with you a story. Derek Black thought he could bring the coming of the Messiah through his leadership of the white nationalist movement. You could say that it was in his genes. His father, Don Black, had created Stormfront, a white nationalist website with more than 300,000 users. And his mother, Chloe, had once been married to David Duke. So that was his godfather. Suspicious of the government and homeschooled to believe that America was only for white Europeans, he enrolled in New College of Sarasota, where he was outed as a white nationalist, and the message went viral. But Derek had a buddy named Matthew who had been hosting Shabbat dinners. He chose to interfere. Matthew decided his best chance to influence Derek's thinking was to reach out to him. Maybe he'd never spent time with a group of Jews before. So Matthew texted Derek, "What are you doing Friday night?" Derek showed up for Shabbat dinner and became a regular. Tentatively at first, but then more assertively, the group began to ask Derek about his views. Well, it turned out when they really pressed Derek, he didn't believe in violence or the KKK or Nazism. He worried about forces causing a white genocide. Derek's new studies convinced him that he had been brainwashed. Majoring in medieval history, he came to understand the history of Europe. He started to confront his views that the white race was not biologically superior, that European culture lagged behind Islam in the Middle Ages, that white people and culture were not better. The entire idea of a white race was a modern one. One of Derek's Shabbat friends wrote to him about his involvement in the white nationalist movement. "Get out of this. Get out before it ruins some part of your future more than it irreparably has already." Eventually, after much soul searching, Derek issued the following unbelievable statement. "After a great deal of thought, I have resolved that it is in the best interests of everyone involved to be honest about my slow but steady disaffiliation from white nationalism. I can't support a movement that tells me I can't be a friend to whomever I wish, or that other people's races require me to think of them in a certain way or be suspicious. The things I have said, as well as my actions, have been harmful to people of color, people of Jewish descent, activists striving for opportunity and fairness for all. I am sorry for the damage done." Can you imagine the strength, the courage, the tenacity to offer those words, to disavow the white nationalist movement when it meant he was leaving his family and disavowing the relationship not only with his godfather, David Duke, but with his own flesh and blood father? What ultimately weaned Derek away from his hatred to make teshuvah? Not just rational arguments, not his research into European history and the origins of racism. It was the power of relationship, the power of conversation, the power of listening and understanding, the power of emerging friendship. As one of my Christian friends put it, "You Jews have a wonderful resource in your hands. It is called Shabbat." Derek's better angels came to him on Shabbat as well. And there was one less hater in the world. My friends, I can't promise that all the pernicious people will have a change of heart. Yet the power of one candle can dispel the darkness. In the season of repentance, may we have hope that more of us will be like Matthew, opening the conversation so that one by one by one, more Derek Browns will rise in the world, leaving their hate behind. Amen. That was a fun day getting that envelope in the mail. Scared the hell out of my young wife.
Shana Tova. I am Alan Golad, and I have the honor to serve as your president here at University Synagogue. It is my privilege to introduce our friends who joined us on the Bema this morning. To my left, Board Trustee Robert Shamsi, Aziz Shamsi, Jonathan Carson, Stephanie Carson, Board Trustee Terry Niku, Kevin Niku, Rabbi Feinstein, Cantor Shapiro, Rabbi Simons, our rabbinic intern Joanne Leubin, our Vice President Abby Hertz, David Krause, Elliot Horowitz, and Sophia Horowitz. A couple of announcements. This afternoon at 3:15, please join Rabbi Simons and Cantor Shapiro for Tashlik at Lifeguard Station 15 in Santa Monica. Now that's Lifeguard Station Park at the very south end of the parking lot at Temescal. This Sunday at 10 a.m. is the first event for our new University Synagogue Film Society. The award-winning documentary, Jews in Baseball, An American Love Story, will be shown with a discussion following the film led by Rabbi Michael Barabam. He's a noted historian, founding director of the U.S. Holocaust Museum, and a big-time baseball fan. This fall, we have some very special music programs. On October 29th, the Yuval Ron Ensemble will perform as part of the interfaith activity to aid homelessness. And then on November 11th, our incomparable in-house rock band, the Mavens, will perform. Our Introduction to Judaism course, taught on Sunday mornings by Cantor Freilich, will begin on October 15th. You give us 18 mornings and we'll give you 4,000 years. Now, on behalf of all of us, there's some people I would like to thank. Our ushers, thank you very much. Under the leadership of Barry Sykoff, who has led the Usher Corps, forget this, 44 years. Our executive director, Lisa Beth Lobenthal, and her amazing staff for making all of this so easy for us. A person we will hear more from, our master blaster of the shofar, Dr. Josh Weider. Susan Rosenstein and our choir for making our musical experience for these high holy days so very special. And of course to our clergy for their spiritual leadership and guidance. May everyone have a good, sweet, and healthy New Year. It is my honor now to welcome my good friend and Vice President of Tikkun Olam, Julie Bank, to the Bema.
Good morning and Shana Tova. It's so lovely to see our sanctuary full, to see so many familiar faces and just have it be overflowing this morning. I'm here with my family, which as many of you know, the Bank family, there's a lot of us, but not just with my nuclear family, but also grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. But for me, I'm also here with my University Synagogue family, all of you. It's the family that we've created over the past 15 years. Our Unison family has been there for us, and considering the sheer number of us, we are literally a life cycle event waiting to happen. In the past decade and a half, 15 years, we've had a bris, a baby naming, 3 b'nai mitzvah, including my own. I was 7 months pregnant with Simon, and Cantor J has told me that I am his one and only pregnant bat mitzvah girl. We have memorialized 2 grandparents and a parent. We have hung a mezuzah way back when Rabbi Zach was our junior rabbi. We've had 3 graduates of ECLEC, 2 kids confirmed, and 2 currently in the religious school. But honestly, when I think of University Synagogue, it's not these meaningful milestones that come to mind. It's more the feeling. It's the feeling that I got when I walked in here 15 years ago with 2 small children, desperate for a preschool and a place to belong, new to a huge city where I knew no one, and was welcomed with open arms by Rabbi Feinstein, who was also new to the synagogue at the time. Just a side note, he was my confirmation rabbi in San Antonio, Texas, so reconnecting with him was finding a bit of home for me. It's the feeling I got seeing an adorable young blonde woman across the yard in Eklek on that first day of Mommy and Me, who would soon become a lifelong friend. You know who you are. It was the feeling when friends in our Havurah drove up Beverly Glen in the driving rain to be with us on our first Halloween in LA. It was the times that our children were having trouble finding their place in secular school, but knew that Unity and Nifty friends were always there for them with the friendships they needed. It's the feeling we got when our son needed to hang out and maybe talk, and Rabbi Simons brought him out to the garden to use his hands and to listen and to learn. It was when all of our kids, all 4 of them, wanted to attend URJ Camp Newman at the same time, but we were not sure we could swing it. The synagogue and the generosity of people like all of you helped us get them there to create those roots they needed to ensure that they would be lifelong Jews. It was the feeling we had when our lives became crazy and hectic, also known as every day in the Bank household, and the synagogue was helpful and accommodating in a way that not all synagogues are, with Jesse going as far as creating an at-home Hebrew class for us and 4 other families who could not attend on Tuesdays for over 2 years. It was the compassion and listening we got when we were working through anxiety, resistance to Judaism, and proclamations of independent thinking, how dare they really, from our children. It was the feeling I got when I was looking for a home where I could do social justice work and meet other like-minded people. I found those people in the sisterhood going to OPCC, in the religious school marching to end genocide, in congregants young and old working beside Cantor Kareth in our award-winning garden. I found them in the clergy, who are leaders in the faith community, heading up the Los Angeles Council of Religious Leaders and playing major roles in the Religious Action Center for Reform Judaism, and founding the new organization, Jewish Center for Justice, which is housed right here at University Synagogue. So you can see why this is not just a place where we come on occasion for services and to drop off our kids on Sunday so we can have a free morning, which is a perk, by the way. It's a place where we're not treated like customers, only members, family members. University Synagogue is approaching its 75th year. We have benefited tremendously, our family personally, and also many of you, from the generosity of the generations before us, who made it a home not just for me and my family, but for all of you and your families. Now, some of you are thinking, none of this applies to me. I don't have a big family with young kids and teenagers or teenagers. I'm sure none of you are thinking that you're going to have a bat mitzvah when you're 7 months pregnant. You may not have a need for more friends or a social justice platform, but you may in the future and you just don't know it now, or you may know someone who will. So please use these envelopes and donate generously to the High Holy Day campaign. Think about the young family walking into the synagogue, looking for a place to belong, those kids who need a friend and will find them within these walls, those who need a place of compassion when times are tough, who need someone to listen and care. It's here at University Synagogue that they will find it, and it is your generosity right now, today, that will make that happen. Thank you, and I wish you all a very sweet New Year.
We continue with our service on page 267. We invite back up Dr. Joshua Weeder, our Baal T'kiah, as we enter into the second of three parts of our shofar service, the part of Zichronot, of remembrance, page 267. God of remembrance, remember the covenant of our ancestors, we affirm it today. Remember, we are a people of noble ideals. Help us attain them. Remember all your people, all the nations on the road to peace. Bless their efforts. Remember with mercy the binding of Isaac, the sorrow of Sarah, Abraham's words, "Here I am." Our memory fades, but you remember all that we have forgotten. Your presence is a throne where all things matter and nothing is lost. Blessed are you, Adonai. You remember the covenant. You remember us. We turn together and we rise on page 268. T'kiah, Shivarim Trua, T'kiah, T'kiah, Shivarim, T'kiah, T'kiah, Trua, T'kiah. You may be seated.
So some of you have already had the privilege of meeting our new student, Rabbi Joanne Leubin. She hails from Skokie, Illinois. How many there from Chicago? Okay, good. These are your landsmen, okay? And has been a student at Hebrew Union College for 3 years. When she graduated St. Louis University, she went to the Pardes Institute of Jewish Studies, a liberal yeshiva, men and women studying together in Jerusalem, and earned her master's in Jewish education. She then taught for 3 years at a Reformed Jewish day school, the Davis Academy in Atlanta, and taught at a Reformed congregation as well on Sundays. She's been at Hebrew Union College, where last year her student internship was right in the heart. She was in Billings, Montana, down the road from Whitefish, Montana, and served as their student rabbi. We're delighted she's here teaching on our faculty, and I hope you'll have the chance to get to know her through the year ahead. And we're going to continue on.
Page 281. Please join me in reading responsively. Summoned to battle injustice, we heard the rebuke of our prophets.
Cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a shofar.
Goodness of the world, Tuvo Shalom, today we stand before the shofar to hear its voice of hope, resilient and strong, proclaiming freedom, promising redemption.
In days to come, a great shofar will be sounded. Those lost in the land of Assyria and those cast away in the land of Egypt shall come back and worship Adonai on the holy mountain in Jerusalem.
To speak out and never grow weary, to hold fast to the message of Sinai.
To believe in a time when all life will be cherished, to work for that day and to know it will come.
The blast of the horn sustains us in faith.
My God Adonai shall blow the shofar and advance in a stormy tempest.
A mighty call that never stops. The shofar resounds forever.
All you who live in the world and inhabit the earth, when a flag is raised in the hills, take note. When a shofar is blown, give heed.
I would like to invite back up to the bima Josh Weeder for another shofar blast, few more shofar blasts as we turn to page 284.
Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol teruat amo Yisrael berachamim.
Please rise. Tekiah. Shivarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Trua. Tekiah Gedolah.
Page 286, friends, as we wind down our service with Aleinu. We're going to continue 286.
Page 289. When all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye, so may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your dominion be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
There are stars up above. So far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, those who died at the season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. We think especially of all those who have lost hundreds upon hundreds of lives, from Port Arthur to Houston to Beaumont to Tampa to Barbuda, Mexico City, Puebla. What a horrible set of weeks it's been. May their memories be a blessing this new year and always. Page 292, together, friends. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ul'almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen.
Yehei shalama Rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael
v'imru amen.
Oseh
Shalom bin Romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We note the passing of two who were summoned to their immortality just these last few days. Petrina Marie Caruso Libby, the mother of our congregant John Libby. Arrangements are pending in San Diego. And the death of John Jaffe, the father of Renee Gilbert. Funeral will be 11 a.m. this coming Monday at Hillside. Zichronam livracha. May each of their memories and the memories of all whose lives we touch be recalled as a blessing. We say together, Amen.
Amen.
Page 294.
Hayom, 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 te'amseinu.
Amen.
Hayom, 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 tevarcheinu.
Amen.
Hayom, 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 hayom. Hayom tigadleinu.
Amen.
Hayom, 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 hayom titreshenu letova.
Amen.
Hayom, 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 hayom tirtevenu l'chaim tovim.
Hayom.
Hayom, 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 tishma shavatenu. Hayom, 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 titmechenu b'mitzitkecha.
Amen. L'shana tova tikatevu v'techatemu. May we be inscribed and sealed in the book of life for a good and healthy year. May our year be filled with good blessings of health and healing. And may we find within University Synagogue the feeling that Julie Bank described for each one of us as we begin our 75th year. Amen. L'shana tova.
Shana tova. L'shana